Do you have to turn your compost pile? We're going to try to answer some of that today. Hey guys, we got an hour or so out in the garden midday, so we're finishing tying up our tomatoes with this new method with these little plastic clips. Check out yesterday's video, we'll showed you that a little more. Today, I'm going to show you 2 compost piles, 24 days old. One has never been turned, one's been turned 6 times. What do they look like on the inside? Let's look at these compost piles. These 3 compost piles I built on the same day, about 24 days ago. I'll link that video up here above this one. If you saw it, you'll remember it. This one has not been turned 1 time. They were built with exactly the same materials. These have been turned about 6 times. We're gonna turn this one, it's this one's turn, and we're gonna turn this one, the one that hasn't been turned a single time, and we're gonna see what the difference is on the inside. We'll start with this compost pile that's been turned many times, and we'll take it from there, we'll put it right here. Yeah, awesome.
Are they already done?
Let's take a look at the middle of this pile. It's actually not very hot at all. It's pretty cool. And we still see a lot of individual components, but the hay is broken down significantly. This stuff looks really nice. I think it probably needs a week or 2, 3 more before I would even think about putting it on a bed. But it is breaking down nicely. There's still some chunks of hay in it here. It's a little dry too, so I'm just wetting it down as I build it back up. Before I turn this next compost pile, I want you to notice just the difference in how they look. And one of the big differences between them so far is that these are evenly mixed and evenly composted. And if you think about it, they've been evenly heated by the heat of the compost pile, because everything's had a chance to be in the center, which tends to get the hottest from that aerobic bacterial activity. This one, however, the outside is still just hay pretty much. And look right here, this is key. There's grass growing out of it from the hay seed. So we know for a fact this one still has viable seeds in it, and that's really a big deal. If you want to take this compost and put it straight on a bed and have it not add weed seeds. Okay, we're about to the center of this pile, and a few things I'm noticing so far. There's definitely more matting of hay in this. Hay that's even in the center that's very distinctly hay and in mats. And this is not hot in the middle. You know, this pile has had a chance to run just kind of a burnout scenario in the center, and as the temperatures drop back down, I expect this pile is going to really heat up when we turn it, probably more than the others, because there's still all this stuff on the outside that hasn't really composted. The middle isn't that different from this other pile. It's broken down pretty well, but the main difference is the outside has this big band of uncomposted hay. There's an invisible band on the outside as well, and that's the band that hasn't heated up enough to not only kill those grass seeds, but to kill harmful bacteria on the outside of a pile that you haven't turned. And conversely, on the inside of the pile, you'll have an area that's actually probably heated up too much on a pile that you don't touch, because turning mixes the materials, and it also moderates and stimulates temperature. It moderates it because if you have a really hot pile and you turn it, it actually cools down some, and if you have a pile that's completely burned out in its current position, you turn it, it'll actually heat up. So I think I'm in favor of turning these piles so they don't overheat, to keep the fungal life alive in the middle, that fungal life you want in your bed. The alternative, if you don't want to turn the compost pile, is go with a heavily wood-based compost pile that will not overheat, but you need to expect it to take a year to years depending on the size of the material. That's probably a good approach for fungal-rich compost as well. In conclusion today, I've learned from seeing this unturned compost pile that If you want a fast compost pile, if you want a consistent consistency, if you want a safe compost pile, especially if there's animal manure components, and if you want a weed-free compost pile, you probably should be turning your compost pile. This doesn't necessarily apply if you're in it for a long, slow cook with your compost pile, but I'm happy with my turned compost pile, and that's what I'll continue to practice. Thanks for joining us today. Y'all have a great day. Bye.